What's up, everyone? Welcome back for another installment of Firestorm at Home. That's right, it's Coach FreeLove, and you're here for more parkour. We are doing parkour episode 16. Oh my goodness, so many parkour episodes. Now, that's not to consider that we have like over 70 tutorials, and today I'm going to only be referencing 2 of those tutorials, and they're 2 that we've already referenced. So it's tutorial number 43. That's going to be for our comms. That will help you with a lot more information on your comm vault than I'm going to give for you today. Today we're going to be working on our comm in 2 different ways. We'll be working on our reverse comm, so doing it backwards, and also doing our dive comm, so over a greater distance when we first start our takeoff. In theory, there's not a whole lot of great distance we can really travel in the house right now. Then separately, tutorial number 63 is going to be actually for your palm spin, which I only lightly referenced it at the very start when we talked about our turn vault tutorial, as a turn vault turns into palm spin. So keep your eyes open for that. It'll be in a later episode. And here we are. It's a later episode. It's a more advanced vaulting episode. I'm very excited to have you guys here for episode 16. It's going to be a blast. Now, please make sure you have plenty of space. I also have my mat here. The other thing that you're going to want for today's lesson is actually a couple of pillows.
Ronan says hi.
Hi, Ronan. So, I've got 2 pillows here. They're just normal couch cushions. Great, super helpful. You can have 3 or 4 or 1. Honestly, just a couple of them will be helpful. I'm keeping them fairly close by, just over there off to the side. However, they are not necessary. They're just helpful for some of today's visualization and practice. Now, I've got my space ready. I've got the equipment that I'm going to need, my mat, my pillows. So I'm just going to get right on in there and get started with my mobility. Taking a nice wide stance, nice deep breath in through our nose, and out through our mouth. Nice, very good. And let's do it once more. In through the nose, and out through the mouth. We have to oxygenate all that blood that we're about to use to mobilize and get our body ready for our workouts. So we're going to turn our chin over to one side. I'm going to chin to my left. I'm going to dip my chin down across my chest and then over to my opposite shoulder. Head comes back up in a good posture. When I'm down here, my chin is tight to my chest. It's kind of hard to talk, hard to breathe. It's all right. It should be. Now we're going to do that back and forth. Keep going. Do it a couple of times. And as you do it, I want you to imagine that you're moving your head with some resistance. Like there's something on the other side. I'm swinging my head through sand, which would probably be really tough. Like moving through jello. That's a good imagination, moment. I'm dipping my head in and through jello, and I'm using the extra resistance. Like I'm not just moving through air, but like there's something there that makes it challenging for me to move. Now, we're going to start with our shoulders and a big shrug straight up. We're going to go backwards for our shoulder circles to start today. So backwards into that shoulder blade pinch, where our shoulder blades are really squeezed towards each other in that pinch, and then down and around. Nice big backward circles. Nice, and let's go forward now. Always keeping your breathing nice and strong. And consistent too. Good. All right, we're going to move from our shoulders down into our elbows just a little bit. Today's elbow warm-up is going to be a combination of our elbow and wrist warm-up. We're going to press our hands together. I like to refer to this as prayer hands. We're going to keep the pressure in between and on our hands and in through our wrist, actually, in a part of this, you'll see. So hands are pressed together. I'm going to bring them in towards my chest, just like so, right? In towards my chest. From there, I'm going to push forward, keeping the heel of my hand in towards my chest so that my thumbs come to each other. I'm going to turn my hand around so that the back of my hands are pressed now. And I'm going to push into my chest even more directly into myself while pressing my elbows towards each other, stretching out not just my wrist but my elbows just a little bit. And then I'm going to finish by bringing my fingers up and across my chest and turning my hands back to prayer hands. Now I'm moving my torso a lot so that you guys can see some of that. But here's the full movement. Those prayer hands in, down, around, stretch, and flip to the start. Just like that. It's this really cool, fun, circular movement how we're going to start and finish both our elbows and for our wrist warm-ups, or mobility rather. Nice, good stuff. Interlock the fingers, roll them out just a little bit, and shake out the hands. Very good. We're going to move into our torso, so like our spine now. We're going to start with the upper half of our spine. I want you guys to really focus on twisting as much as you possibly can. We're going to get to the maximum of our ability to twist, and we're going to hold it for 3 seconds at that spot. So I'm widening out now. My feet are about 2 times my shoulders width. When I twist, I'm going to twist to my max. And 3, 2, 1. Untwist. Good. And opposite side. So twist all the way to your maximum ability of twist. And then count for 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to replicate that movement again on both sides. Okay? So again, twist. And 3, 2, 1, untwist, opposite side, twist, and 3, 2, 1, untwist. Ooh, very nice. We're going to add to that by doing our momentum twist and using our arms to help swing to drive that twist in the upper body. So arms are going to pull and twist. And it's a little bit faster now, as you can guess, by momentum. Right? So twist in. Alrighty then. We're going to move down our spine even further to our hips. Keep the stance wide. Stop with the torso twist. Start with the hula hoops or the hip circles, however you would like to refer to this movement. Now, many of the movements that we have been doing have several names because they're done in several countries and several parts of the world, and so I want you guys to have that brief disclaimer that I am using some terminology of the widely and vastly accepted vocabulary that applies to a lot of the stuff that we're doing. So specific terminology that I'm using is maybe different from some that you're used to hearing, and that's okay. It's good to expand your knowledge that way. Opposite direction for those hip circles. Just like every episode before, try and isolate the spine. Try not to let it move so much. There is bound to be a little shake, but again, try not to move the spine so much. Emphasize the movement on the hips. Nice. Very good stuff, guys. So, we are going to move into the knees a little bit. We're, instead of putting our feet together for our knee circles today, going to do a few side-to-side lunges. So we're going to dip into one side by bending one leg, keeping the other walked out and straight, just like that. And I'm going to stay low as I travel across. I'm not going to go up and down. Instead, I'm going to come straight over in through a squat. So I'm going to squat in the middle in here, and then come over and across instead of standing up into a straddle and then squatting down. So there's that slight difference. So I'm staying low and going back and forth. Locking the knee down and holding and suppressing that body weight. Maybe you guys have ever seen Dragon Ball Z. This is like Goku's ultimate fighting stance. This is like pre-fight warm-up. Yeah. Okay, perfect. We're going to put our feet and our knees together. Couple of knee circles. and a few in the opposite direction as well. Nice stuff. Stand up nice and tall. Put our feet slightly wider now. And I know often we do our ankle rolls, but we're going to do just a little bit of a different mobility today, where we're going to lift our big toe up and off the ground. So if this is my big toe and this is my pinky toe, my foot is going to fold sideways like that onto the blade of my foot. So I'm going to do that on both feet. So if your feet are too wide, this can be challenging. So keep them squared and under your hips. And flip those toes up. Press those toes down. We're going to keep this going. Just mobilizing and warming up that ankle. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Good. We're going to switch from that interior lift to a calf raise. So I'm not lifting my big toe up anymore. Instead, I'm lifting my heel up off of the mat, keeping my toes down. So calf raises, just to continue to mobilize and warm up that ankle. Now today I did mention that you're going to need a couple of pillows or little couch cushions are super helpful. The other thing that you guys may want, or what would you benefit from greatly, is actually having an elevated place for your feet when we start doing our dive column today. So guys, a couple of pillows, slightly elevated space for your feet like a couch or a chair maybe, and your mat, which is only helpful for, the first little bit. It really is more helpful as a guide or as an obstacle for us to follow and to track our movement here. So good stuff. We're mobilized. We're going to warm up. Base vaults day. We'll kind of just start with our vaults as a part of our warm up. I'm going to get down into a push-up position on my mat, getting down nice and low. What I'm going to practice doing is essentially my floor column, but I'm not going to come all the way in. Instead, I'm going to stop a little bit short, and I'm going to really make this intense by doing it on just one leg at a time. So it'll start with us in a push-up, doing it just like that with 2 feet, right? And if you guys want to, you can stay there for your warm-up, but I'm going to push it up just a little bit more, and I'm going to go 1 foot. Good. I'm going ahead and switch now. I've done about 10 on the one leg, and I'll do 10 on this one. Nice. Woo! So you guys are either doing 2 legs, or like me, you're doing 1 leg and then switching to go into that even amount. Now we're going to continue with something similar to that. We're going to put our feet together on our mat, hold our push up. We're going to jump our feet out to a straddle, and then we're going to go back in and out. As you do this, keep your chest up and over your hands, and if you can, even slightly past your hands and in towards your fingertips. This is going to really help you with developing the strength and stability that you need to catch and do all of your calm vaults. Good. Go ahead and give that a rest. We're going to stand up nice and slow, put ourselves back in the center of our mat, and stand up nice and tall. Take a few deep breaths in and out. Again, in and out. Awesome. Feeling good, looking good, nice and warm here, warm here, warm here, mobile everywhere. We're going to get a quick drink of water. Go get yours. I'm gonna get mine. Oh my, down the wrong pipe. Twice. All right. What's up, all you cool cats and kittens? No, all right. We are going to practice, like I said, some Kong variations. Our first one is a reverse Kong. The second one is going to be our dive Kong. And again, I can't really do, well, I mean, I can practice reverse Kong pretty well actually, but I can't really do dive Kong in these circumstances as much as I would like to. That being said, the workouts are still just super helpful, super beneficial, and we will actually, in these workouts, get to do both of these skills, even though we're not applying them to outdoor training, we'll still get to do them, which is really fun. So, I have my mat. I have a lot of previous experience because I watched all previous 15 episodes and have been practicing all week. So if you guys don't have all that previous experience, these episodes may be challenging and creating difficulty. But that being said, not mandatory, they just will help. I'm gonna go on ahead and get into my mat. I'm gonna get down low. I'm gonna do a tripod. That's a headstand. So, the reason why we have to do our tripod, I will break down for you a little bit more, but it's going to help us to essentially get into our squat for our Kong. So I'm going to go ahead, put my head down, top of the head down, hands are out, making a nice triangle. My arms are bent. I'm going to lift my knees up onto my elbows. And I'm going to hold myself here for a moment before I come down. Woo, that's it. Right, tripod is the first part of our first drill. It may be challenging, but I understand that like tough moves kind of come with tough drills. So you should understand that too. Now, I'm going to do my tripod again. I'm going to add on to that the next step. That's going to be a slight kick out off of that tripod position, where I kick my knees off my elbows, and then I'm going to push myself back up and onto my feet. So again, down, hands down, head down, tipping up, one knee at a time, find my balance. I'm going to kick my feet out that way and push my chest up. Kind of like that. I know I did it very slowly and there's two very big parts, but in full speed you guys will see. Ta-da! Coach, that was huge. I know, thanks. But the trick is practice, right? This is not an easy movement to do. It puts you into one of the best positions to practice your reverse Kong effectively. There's lots of other ways that you can practice it, but right now, we're going from that bent arm and pressing through. One of the positions that we go through is called a Puma. So, we'll do a few more of these and we'll practice our Puma position once or twice. So, hands down, head down, tripod, knees up, and kick and press. Woo, nice. So I'm kicking off using my legs to start the movement, and then adding to that with my arms. The same way that if I was doing a normal Kong, I would swing out with my arms and then jump with my legs. Now it's literally the exact opposite. I am pushing out with my legs and then jumping with my arms, right? Now coming off of my head, it's only a starting thing. You guys wouldn't be doing a tripod outdoors for like parkour and free running like runs, like maybe you would, but like mostly no. So we're going to move on to our Puma. I'm going to turn just a little bit so you guys can see. First thing I do is not going to be a Puma, it's going to be called a frog position or frog balance. We're going to put our hands down, we're going to stab our elbows into the insides of our thighs and knees. So my hands are here, and I'm holding myself on the inside here, almost like a butterfly here, but then I'll be resting like that, holding myself up. So I'm referring to this currently as frog. There's a lot, like dozens, maybe hundreds of different ways that this is referred to. But we're referring to it as frog balance for now. It's a great opportunity for us to stack all of our weight over our arms and then to support that weight with primarily just our arms. So I'm going to go hands down, just like I did for my tripod, but instead of being on my hands and knees on the table to start, I'm going to start in this feet together, knees wide squat, hands are down. I'm going to lean in, bend my arms, and find a good spot on the inside of my knee and thigh. And I'm going to slowly lean forward until I can balance off the floor, taking my toes off. Great. That is not a Puma. That is what you will practice if Puma is very tough. Okay? So, here's my hold, where I have my knees on my elbows, right? And now if I can, for the sake of my Puma, the thing that I'm going to practice doing is a very brief, very, very brief hold, small workout that we're going to do. I'm going to start with my arms primed in a bent position to hold and support my weight. And I'm going to kick up off of my knee like this. And that's it. And so I'm holding myself nearly in a tuck position, but my arms are not really ever extended or straight. They're bent, and I'm trying to hold myself in that bent position. That is the toughest part of this movement, is being in a bent arm hold, supporting your weight while you're in that bent arm hold. So we practice it by doing it minimally, little bits at a time. And again, if this is a little bit too tough, we can still practice our frog balance. So I'm going to go in off the 1 foot, the 1 foot kick up, hands are ready, and I'm trying to hold myself up for as long as I can, even if it's only a moment. Now, if you do end up with your arms straight at the kick up, you are going to try and set yourself down like you're doing a push-up. So we'll say if I'm kicking up, my arms are straight. I'm not just letting my feet hit the floor and then bending my arms. I am setting my feet to the floor by bending my arms. Coach, none of this is a reverse Kong. Correct. This is just a really good way to work out those same muscle groups. Those are muscle groups that you will need for your dive Kong, which is actually why we started with reverse Kong, because I want to make sure that you guys understand that there's some strength that's required that we have to do before we jump into it. So, we're going to go ahead and do either another one of those Puma press and holds, or our frog balance. Some people call it a crow pose as well. So either you guys can do your Puma and hold, right? And kick up and hold, and slowly set yourself down, or we can continue to practice that frog balance. And so we can take our knees off of our elbows and bring them into the center. So that, it's a lot of very condensed movement. We're stuck, we're tucked in. So we're going to add on to all of that by doing our actual reverse Kong. We're going to start in the front of our mat with a very small, like pike almost. Bent leg for sure. Like so, right? Now I can kind of bend my arms like a monkey crawl almost. And when I put my chest down, I'm going to pop my hips up. So I'm going to go from this nearly piked down just a little bit, and I'm going to pop my feet up and push myself away. Now this can be very challenging if you do it as 2 parts, very slowly like I did just now. I'm making it almost like I'm doing a Puma press, and then exploding up out of that for my reverse Kong. So coming in here, if I'm taking it slowly, challenging myself the most, I'm going to bend and push back. Now I'm not doing a very big movement, but you can see it is almost like I'm squatting on my arms for that moment where I'm hands on the ground, feet in the air. It's like I'm squatting with my arms and then jumping with my arms and landing on my feet. Literally, now we can do a floor Kong going forwards and then come backwards with a reverse Kong. And that moment where we stop in the front and the middle is our Puma press. So this thing I just did, not easy. Not even a little bit. Very stressful. I'm only using the space on my mat to practice my little bit of a floor Kong, and mostly to practice my reverse Kong. Nice. So that's the most challenging variation for this workout that we have. I am pooped. Oh my goodness. That is so exhausting. Coach, why can't we just practice reverse Kongs? Well, you can. But you want to, I like to believe, overtrain. So practicing all of that will make you more well-equipped, more versatile as an athlete for every obstacle and for every skill. Now, we're going to move on to our dive Kong. But real quick, I need water. I'm very exhausted. Reverse Kongs are a very intense movement. They're not a white rank movement, they're not an orange rank movement, they're not a green rank movement, they are a blue rank movement for us. So that you guys understand where that comes from. That's our 4th level up. That's about halfway through all of our level of curriculums. So it's pretty intermediate to almost higher end movement that we're asking you to perform right now. So if you're struggling, keep that in mind, that it is kind of an advanced athlete movement. So guys, go get your water, I'm gonna get mine. Good stuff. All right, guys. So, I needed plenty of water because I am losing plenty of water out here. It's way hot, guys. I don't know if you were following us from the start of the series or even from just like a week ago, but for us out here, it is grossly hot. I'm losing water, so I had to drink some, and you guys all need to make sure you do the same. Now, I talked about reverse Kong. We're going to talk about dive Kong. Coach, my arms hurt. They're tired. Don't worry. It's going to be a little bit easier, I promise. Now, we did say you would probably want 2 things, a space for our elevated feet, like the couch, as well as some cushions. Now, we're going to start with the couch, right? I'm going to slide over just a little bit over this way, actually, so that you guys can see my movement. I'll be putting my feet up on the couch here, and hands down there like I'm in a push-up. But then the real important part of this is that I'm going to be doing my Kong, just a normal floor Kong. I know we just did a bunch of that, sort of, but I'm going to get down nice and low, have my feet on my elevated surface, and I'm going to pull them down, just like that. Floor Kong. That's like the simplest, easiest, most basic way that I would anticipate that you're landing this movement. The goal, our end range, right? That's our start range. My hands were over here, my feet just kind of slip down and I land on my feet. Our end range of this movement is to slowly push, so that when we pop, or when we slide our feet down, we pop off of our hands. Oh, my goodness. I even actually slid on my mat. I'm going to remove my trip hazard, because you have to be aware of your environment and you have to be in a reliable space to practice certain movements. So I'm not going to trip myself on that. It's not going to be fun. I'm going to practice just a few more. Now, when I am in this push-up, elevated push-up position, getting ready for my Kong, what I'm really emphasizing is that I have a little bit of shoulder shrug that I can do. So I kind of shrug the floor away and flick through my fingers when I do so. A little bit of push and flick, so that way I can get my chest up and I can snap my feet down under it. So I'm here, a little bit of push and flick. I'm dragging my feet under me and putting my chest up and over them. Now, from a stationary position, so challenging. We're going to do just a few more of them, and if you can get your feet under your hands, like under your chest, by where your hands were, that's perfect. That's great. That would mean that when we do our dive Kong, or our dive floor Kong, you'll be able to get your feet under you from an elevated or otherwise behind you position. And with no momentum, what we are right now, in a stationary version of this movement, it is
significantly more difficult to get my feet from back there to up there. Ugh. So much more challenging. If I would jump in, it's so much easier. So if we practice the hard thing, I said it earlier, we overtrain ourselves for this thing. Nice. So we're going to move off of the couch, back over to our mat. Now that I'm back over here with my mat, the other thing that I'm going to grab is my pillows, my cushions, my helpers. Lovely, soft, friendly, little helpers. I'm going to start with one. I'm going to throw it on down. And in previous versions of our floor Kong, or like last episode, actually episode 15, we worked on our Kong to precision. And I had markers that were off to the side. But now I need a marker that I can go over. Something that's soft and squishy that will not hurt me if I land on it. It's super helpful for that. So I'm going to get squatted down on the back side of my mat. Have my little pillow right here, little guy. I'm going to try and do my whole floor Kong over my pillow. That is really, in essence, where the dive Kong becomes a dive. I'm now trying to surmount an obstacle and perform my movement. Even if the obstacle is a gap, that is still an obstacle. Even nothing is something. Sounds weird that way, but it is. So we're going to do a little bit of a floor Kong over this, reaching my hands out and over it. Trying to really pull those feet through. I've overshot my feet, ended up falling backwards in my attempt to pull. So now I know I need to balance out and tone my power. Never waste a pass. Just get on back up. Go where you came from by where you landed. Nice. Much more balance. Once I feel comfortable with that little bit of movement, there's two ways that I can go about this. I can leave this here and add another pillow, or I can slide this one down further. What I'm actually going to do is increase my gap, or my cushion space that I'm diving over. I'm going to increase that by 2 pillows, by a pillow here. So now it is 2 pillows wide. Of course, that's not like an official measurement or anything, but it's important to know where you're at and to push yourself safely, carefully. So like if you don't think you can suddenly double your dive, then don't do that. Instead, push this and push this and push this slowly and slowly until it is double your dive, whether you realize it or not. Okay? So take it incrementally if we need to. Now, with a little bit bigger of a obstacle to dive over, it's more important that I stand up and go through the movement. So I'm almost standing into a push-up position that's out at this angle when I do this movement. I have to like reach out into the movement. You guys can even see, exaggerate that by like putting my arms out like Superman, doing that dive a little bit. That's what we're going to need to actually successfully do this movement though. So we're going to get into that squat, behind our obstacle, behind our gap. That way you're going to dive over our gap and try and Kong on the target space on the end of that there. Don't let your feet land in that gap. Try and give yourself enough room to land on the other side. Now, we did talk about Kong precision. Yes, not yesterday, but last episode. Wow. When we did talk about that, there was this point where our hands and our feet were closer, and we were trying to launch our feet past our hands. But now, our feet are not going to go too much further past our hands, maybe a little, but they're going to land more next to or around our hands in the act of doing this dive in the start. It means that it's hard for us to do a launch at the end. So if we launch before the hands, it becomes challenging to launch off of them. So again, if I'm doing my dive Kong like I am, I'm doing this launch here, getting to my hands at distance, putting my feet down next to my hands. Now, if I was to reference our last episode, real quick, a Kong precision, the difference would be my hands would be closer. I wouldn't be diving to my hands. Instead, I would be vaulting off my hands and diving to my landing, putting my feet out at that further distance. So there's a distance, there's the difference, wow. There's the difference between our normal Kong, our Kong to precision, or a dive Kong, right? It's the amount that you're taking off and as you're taking off in either the start or the end of that movement, right? So we're gonna do a few more of our dive Kong. Practicing with your pillow at a distance that you feel comfortable. There we go. Nice and low squat. And reach out, dive, calm. Right? Exaggerating the explosive dive through the legs is a thing that most people miss, especially in a stationary movement. So really, if you need to, you can even slide back further. I'm going to move my setup so I can add a little more power. Throw a third pillow in there, kicks and giggles. But now when I do the movement, as I go for this, there will be a moment where I'm almost entirely airborne before my hands hit the ground. I'm effectively diving, then conging, and that is really the goal. So I'm going to try and go from my feet to entirely airborne, then to my hands, again, entirely airborne off my hands, and then to my feet. That's how we're doing it best. Dive cong. Again, no wasted turns. When you guys find difficulty balancing, stay low, squat down, keep your hips down, and keep your chest over your hips. So, dive kongs. Very cool, very fun, super versatile. Practicing your reverse kong will make you stronger in your ability to do a dive kong. Now, the bigger your dive kong, the faster and the harder that you hit your surface at the end of it. So the stronger you are, the better it is that you can absorb it and control that. Now, we are going to take our pillows, keep them nearby, but get them out of the way so we can get started with our last skill today. Our next water break is just on its way though. We're going to clean up and then get that sip. So, catch your breath. Set your blocks or your pillows out off to the side. I'm going to reset my mat. And you guys go get a quick sip of water. Alrighty. What? You're back already? Great. Perfect. I got my water. I hope for you all that you got enough water. I accidentally didn't get too much. It's easy to accidentally get too much water and make your stomach hurt and feel bad. Now, I talked about it, episode 43 of all of our tutorials. Tutorial number 43 rather. Justin talks a lot in general, but he talks a lot about your kong in that episode specifically. It's really helpful. It will break down some more of the finite parts of the movement that I didn't really get a chance to address while I was focused on the workouts and the reverse kong aspect of today's workout. Now, we're going to switch gears, start with another vault that is not a kong related skill. It is our palm spin. So, I don't have an obstacle to actually palm spin on or around. I'm going to use my mat. It's my pretend wall. It's my imaginary wall. A palm spin, in theory, would look like this. I would grab onto the edge of my wall, very edge of it. I would swing my feet around from the side back to nearly where they start. Ta-da! Palm spin. Now, it does look kind of like a turn vault from like way back in like episode 1 or 2. We first worked on turn vault. Now, we are going to warm up by practicing our turn vault because it will help us in accomplishing our palm spin. I'm going to be using my mat as a block or as a wall while I first start doing this movement. I'm going to squat down nice and low and put my hands on the mat. I like to spin to my left, this way. Some people like to spin the other way. Depending on how you spin, I'm going to point my hands that same spinning direction. So, for a turn vault, turn the hands one way, then turn the body to match. starting off the mat, hands are on the edge, turning, going up and onto the mat. Or you can practice by going turn vault over something. Hands down and turn vault over the mat. Right? So if I turn vault over it or I turn vault onto it. We talked about that in our vault episode for turn vault. Just a few more, warm it up. We're going to go back and forth. I like to go one way and then kind of unspin by going the opposite direction. So if I'm here, I would spin on, then spin off. Just a few more to get your body in that flat spin movement. Trying to get used to holding yourself up and turning the direction that your body is facing. Because that's what we do in a palm spin. So with our turn vault, we're done with that now. Turn vault really helps us to turn the body, to get used to that turning action. Now, for the sake of us fully completing our palm spin, we have to try and do a few more things. We're going to stay tucked, nice and tightly tucked actually, and stay in a squat, a very small squat. I'm going to get down nice and low, boom, just like this, and just like I did my turn vault, but not in a straddle. I'm going to keep myself again in this tuck. So turn the hands and grab, and when I just grab here, I'm going to try and pull like I'm sliding the mat that way. And I may even accidentally slide the mat when I do that movement. But I'm going to keep my legs together and I'm going to do a little hop, very light hop. So it's just like my turn vault, but only more condensed. Because anything that needs to spin or is going to need to spin fast, if it's big, it doesn't spin very fast. It's not going to effectively. If it's small, that thing can get going very quickly. So when we're big and we're out doing our turn vault, we only turn halfway. When we're smaller, we can turn more. So now my feet are pointed forwards, and when I do half of my palm spin, my feet end up pointing back at where I came from. But now I'm going to try and point my feet over at that wall by rotating not 180, but just a little bit more than that. So here, with my hands, I'm going to go not 180, but 270. And now I've turned and I've landed on my mat where I started off of it. Now I'm facing down in alignment with my mat, which is a little bit more rotation than where I was when I had my back to you guys. Now, resetting, practicing the movement on both sides is super important. So I'm going to go on ahead and do that now. I'm going to reset, stay in that super low squat, and get into that turning the hands action. And remember that just doing this as you reach can help to add to your movement just a little bit. So I don't just start with my hands down, I reach into my movement. That extra momentum is super nice. So I'm going to reach in. Okay, catch myself, stay in that low squat for my balance and for the sake of control. Reset. Shake out your legs, stand up and lock them out and wobble them out a little bit if you're down in that low squat. I know it can get a little bit tight, we're very condensed. But we're going to continue with that tight and condensed position. Again, just a few more. Squatting. Hands are going to go down on the edge of our mat. We're going to turn as much around as possible. Now, my feet have split apart, and this is not ideal for the practice. So I'm going to do it again as if it didn't count. Because if I don't do it right, I don't do it well, it's not going to benefit me, right? You practice makes permanent, does not make perfect. If you practice something wrong, you will perform it wrong. So get back into that tight and condensed position, try it again, and keep that tight and condensed position while you do it. Reset, fix your obstacle, and again, on the opposite side, because we practice both sides here. So turn into the reach and turn into the move. Try and keep the feet together. Do it again. Much better, much, much better. Now, that movement can be a tough one. Because again, staying down so tightly condensed, being so low and in the squat. Now we did talk about the couch earlier today. We put our feet up on the couch earlier. once. We're gonna ask if it's okay if we can put our feet up on the couch once more. And we'll promise that we'll be very gentle with it. We're not gonna stomp on the couch, okay? When we do this movement, I'm gonna slide on over now. Like I said, keep those cushions near you. Because like if you fall off the couch, you accidentally trip or stumble, like they may help to, catch you as you're doing that, but they're not really what we're gonna use for right now. For right now, actually, we're gonna go up onto the couch to practice our hip raise. We need to be able to lift our hips up when we do a palm spin. If I was to do a palm spin on something like this, I would have to get my hips up and over this obstacle. So if I can't get my hips up, then I can't do my palm spin. So using our couch like normal, we're going to do the same thing where we grab the edge of the couch and how we grab the edge of our mat, and then we're going to spin our feet up onto the couch. Not a big jump, not a crazy jump, and not with our feet apart. We're doing it very small, very tight and condensed. So I'm here in this tight, kind of tucked, condensed position. Hands are going to be ready. I'm just going to jump up, and when I jump up, it will be almost like two parts. I will jump, and then separately you will see that my arms engage the spin. So it's going to be 1 and 2, right? And now it looks like one kind of leads into or attaches into the second one, and that is our goal. So again, down in a nice low squat. I have to jump myself up high enough to get my lower body over my little obstacle, and then turn by pushing across the obstacle, not sliding the hand, but instead spinning the body. Now, trying to stay tight and condensed, well in this space, doing a few more. Squat down nice and low, hands are on. Again, tight and condensed, keep the legs in and together. Grab, jump, and turn. Nice. Now, oh my goodness. Move that out of the way. Now I'm going to add a little bit more rotation. If I am down here nice and low, and I'm only getting halfway through, then I'm only making half the movement. For a palm spin, I need to be able to get all the way around. Cool. And try not to land on my obstacle while I'm at it. Now having a soft cushy space like this couch means I get to kind of like bite the dust a little bit, but I'm not going to throw myself at the couch super hard. My goal is actually still to kind of land on my feet right now. But instead of landing both feet, I'm going to land on one foot on the couch and one foot on the floor. So hands are on, squat ready for my jump, up and turn. And now just like I did over there, I did a 180 at first and then a 270 after. I've landed 1 foot on, 1 foot off. Now all that would have to happen is I'd have to keep that leg in and tucked, set it back down here, and I'm almost all the way around with my palm spin. You guys can see how this helps to build up to become your palm spin. You can see very clearly how it does help you with that. So we're going to do 1 or 2 more of those, and then move on to our last part of our palm spin. So, down low, rotating as much as possible, trying to land with both feet over here if possible, but in theory, we're currently kind of working our way there, so we may land 1 foot up, 1 foot down, that's good still. So hands are ready, jump, turn, and land. So I'm getting there, still making my way there. Now the thing that will help me is to keep my weight pressed in, keep my body leaned over my arms like we talked about with our Kong a little bit earlier today too, and then to keep this leg here up and my hips up and back. So full palm spin, trying to push myself as far as I can, get all the way around full spin. Tucked, ready, hands, ready, jump and go. Ooh. Trying to keep those feet together. You guys can see scraping on my couch, which if I was outside practicing on a park bench or something, I'd be scraping my skin off my legs on a very painful, hard surface. So having this permission is something we don't want to take lightly. So thank you Summer, for saying I can use the couch today. All right, guys, we are going to move back over to our mat, practice our palm spin a little bit more. Now, the thing that we're going to do over here is going to use those pillows. So that's why I had to say keep them close, because now we're going to use them. So I'm going to set my pillows up right here towards the center of my mat.
I don't know where you're going.
So I'm actually going to make a small, like, three-sided square with it. So I'm going to have a pillow at the front and a pillow on either side and space in the middle of that for my hands. Now, everywhere around my hands is an elevated surface. And while I practice my palm spin, I'll be practicing trying to go all the way around from start to finish being the start again. But when I do all of that, I have to try not to let my feet drag or my toes touch the pillows. So I'm going to set myself up, nice and ready. Hands are in place, or they're going to go in place because I like to use that extra bit of momentum. And as I do my palm spin, my goal is to try and finish about right where I stand and, try not to, again, touch any of those pillows. So, setting myself up, hands are ready, reach, and jump and turn. You guys can see I'm coming over and off the side a little bit, not quite all the way there. And that is one of the side effects of being in the circumstance that we are, where we're down here on the floor practicing this movement. But now, you guys can see how I'm keeping my feet up as I do this spin and as I turn and get all of that torque and deliver my palm spin. So for just a few more here, we can practice feel on our opposite side as well afterwards. So 1 and 2, and give it a go. Nearly back in place, stepping down slightly wide at the end of that because I need to stop my spin. So now that I've gotten all the way around that tight and condensed position that we talked about that you kind of need, you need that for this duration of the movement, but then as we finish it, we can kind of open up to stop ourselves. So again, there we go, stuck over off to the side, give it another shot, give it a little bit more jump, and try not to lean too far in either one way or the other. Ooh, there we go. So I'm nearly in place, I'm still leaning back a little bit. So I'm going to take a seat. You guys should all take a seat as well. If you've been in that palm spin, doing it as much as I have just now, you've been in that squat as deep and as low as I have, woo, your legs are on fire. So sit in a pike for just a moment, extend those legs, straighten them out. We're going to do a few stretches for the knee itself. The top of the knee specifically where the quad grabs onto it. If you guys can, grab a hold of your toe. I'm only going one leg at a time. I can even bend my other leg while I reach. But keep this leg straight. We're going to hyper extend that knee just a little bit. So that means I'm going to grab the ball of my toe, and I'm going to press down on my knee and lift my heel up off the floor while keeping my knee down. Just going to alternate this normal light bend here, where my knee is lifted, and then heel is lifted. And I'm going to do just that little bit of movement just a few more times, because being so tight and so condensed and so crunched up in that little squat really does restrict a lot of the blood flow, because you're compressing a lot of those little spaces where the blood needs to flow. So we're going to go ahead and do that same stretch here, but on our opposite leg. So again, knee is going to be out in that extension. We're reaching for the ball of the toe, and knee is now slightly bent. I'm going to push down and lift up, and do that several times. Nice, very good stuff. All right, guys. Now, if you want to, it is an awesome opportunity to continue practicing your palm spins, and you can even add this drill to that drill that we did on the couch by taking those pillows. I'm going to slide it back on over to the couch for one last time. I'm going to take those pillows back on over to the couch, and if instead of them being set up against like the back of the couch like normal, if they were here at the sides as an elevation point that I had to lift my feet up and over. You guys can see now that having this point where I'm lifting my feet up over that can help me to emphasize the practice that I need for my lift. So if you guys are struggling, there's all sorts of cool stuff that you can do that's going to help you out. Watch. So, guys, oh my goodness. Let's go get a quick sip of water. Come back for some stretches. Alrighty. So, paired with the heat and the intensity of the workout, I am a tired boy. Oh my goodness. So sweaty. Guys, I needed a drink. I ended up getting a whole second cup of water because that's how much I needed to drink. But we're at the end of our workout. We're about to do our stretches. So that thing I said about accidentally over drinking too much, kind of drink a little bit more now. That's okay. Hydrate as you need. Now, we are going to start with some arm stretches. I'm going to take a seat towards the center of my mat, putting my arms back behind me, just like that. Both arms are going to be just like that. Trying to keep my hands on the mat. I don't want my hands to go any wider than they are currently, so I'm going to try and leave them right in place, and then lift my hips away from my hands, and put them down by my feet. Alright, so try not to let the arms move. And keep breathing the whole time that you're here. In through your nose, and out through your mouth. Calm and controlled. Good. Going ahead and sit up out of that. Readjust back to the center of our mat. We're going to do it just like we did at the start of class today, that wrist and elbow mobility drill. We're going to do that same thing. So pray your hands in. We're going to point the fingers forward and then flick the fingers back to back and then drag them up the chest and flip back over to prayer hands. Don't forget the elbows are going to be quite a bit of mobility and movement in there. This is to really stretch out our wrists. After all that Kong and palm spin, we did load up onto our wrists a lot of weight. So in there, prayer hands, heels in, pinkies down, flip and roll. Fingers up, flip and roll. Right. I like to get in very deep on this part of it where I pull my fingers to my chest and then I push my elbows towards each other pretty intently. Almost making them touch. And then pulling my hands through. This helps me to increase the stretch that I'm really receiving from this movement. Very nice. Alright, go ahead and shake your hands side to side. Keep your posture up nice and strong in your spine. Flop them out up and down. Nice. We're going to go ahead and sit down in our pike stretch. So, legs are out. I'm going to start with my toes pointed. I'll reach up with my arms through my spine. And then fold my whole torso down as much as possible. And come on out of the pike. We're going to do a figure four where we pick one leg up and over, cross it, lay it down on top of the other. We're going to roll our ankle out with this bent leg. And while we roll that ankle out, we're going to reach to the opposite foot, right? So I'm using right hand and left foot, left hand and right foot. Reach and roll. I like to keep a slight twist in the torso, like so. As I'm reaching over to the outside of that foot, I'm going to turn my chest to face towards that back wall. don't forget, you guys want to roll your foot, your ankle in both directions as well. And we're going to switch to the opposite side, so figure 4 for the ankle roll. Start the ankle roll and twisted reach. So, if we have any questions, now is like the right time. We do our AMA, which is an Ask Me Anything. And it's really about asking me anything about the lesson, or maybe a previous lesson. If you guys didn't get a chance to catch the stream live, opposite direction ankle roll. If you guys missed the stream live, you didn't get a chance to ask your question now, you can still ask it. It's totally fine. I will get to all of those questions in post in a following video. Now, good, went ahead and release that. We have maybe another couple weeks left for our series. That being said, we're unsure. We're unsure of when our buildings are going to open back up and when I will go back to running actual classes with people instead of running classes with my phone and summer, which is really fun, and it's an awesome way to make sure that you guys get content. You guys get an opportunity to work out, you guys are still getting practice, that you guys are going to be able to, maintain some of your skills and maintain your strength and your flexibility. And those are really big, important goals for us at Firestorm, because we care about you guys. And when we all come back to this sense of normalcy, then we're going to want that still. We don't want to have lost all of our stuff, right? This is not like riding a bike. Once you stop, it goes away a little bit. So, you guys practicing your workouts and practicing your skills and the circumstances that we are under will help you. When we do get our chance to open back up, we're very excited to have you guys back in there. Now, we're going to continue to create content for as long as we are quarantined. Now, that may mean that some of you that are in a longer quarantine may miss out on some of the content, but you guys can always go back and rewatch episodes that you really enjoyed. You can share episodes with your friends and do it with them as if they were a class like normal, if your quarantine lasts any longer. We are really looking forward to surmounting this obstacle that life has thrown in front of all of us. Using our parkour not just as a skill, but as a mindset to really better ourselves, to make this thing less, immense than it is actually. If we can just hang in there a little bit longer, then we're all going to make it to the other side of this thing and have a good time hanging out afterwards. So, really appreciate you guys hanging out and following us on the live stream. We appreciate you guys liking the videos, sharing the videos, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell. If you guys have questions, this last portion of class, I don't want to just sit here and talk about nothing. I'd much rather talk about your questions and answer your questions and help you guys with what you need. So if you've got them, now's the chance to send them. Otherwise, send them anyway, and I'll get them on my next episode. Guys, we really enjoyed having you. I hope you had fun. Check out tutorials number 43 and 63. They're going to give you a little bit more detail on the movements we worked on today. Very good stuff, guys. You're all dismissed.